You talk as long as you have content and you're adding
Awesome.
value.
Love
If
it.
you run out of something to say, just make them make programs.
Love it. Love it. How much should I wait? Do you say usually?
You go,
Get
I
started?
know that there's someone else coming for sure.
Okay,
Someone else is
Cool.
texting me, so you at least have three.
awesome.
We'll see who else.
Okay, great. See
Okay.
you. I'm McKelle. Sorry.
Nice to meet you.
What's your name again? Daniel. Hi.
Jared.
Derek. Nice to meet you. Okay, awesome. It's gonna be great. I'm McKelle. How long have you guys been here at KW? Weeks?
Same.
Same? What got you guys into real estate?
So for me, I was at a corporate job before working in tech,
Love it.
just didn't like that. I was very restricted on my ability to do things and also my ability to get paid.
Totally.
So I like the ability that here, it's up to me,
Love
that if I make money or if I don't, it's all because of me.
What kind of tech were you in?
So I worked for a company called Oracle, but
Yeah,
doing healthcare tech.
sweet. Okay, what about you?
My wife has been a realtor for 5 years,
Okay,
and I was a general contractor during that time. And we were just looking at the books and realizing that she was making more part-time as an agent than I was making full-time as a contractor, so
love it.
we decided we would just both go all in on this rather than spend our efforts.
Awesome. Are you still gonna do GC work?
Probably.
Okay,
I'm pretty burnt out.
awesome. Are you guys both from here, both from Utah?
California,
How long have you been here?
8 years.
Okay, and you've been here forever. Awesome, cool. Okay, a little bit about me. Well, actually, let me ask you guys this. What are your guys' income goals for this year?
So I haven't thought about to the end of the year. I'm thinking for my first year total, so
Okay,
May to May, and I mean 100,000.
awesome.
Good about that.
100,000 for to the next rolling 12 or end of the year?
End of the year.
Sweet guys, that's awesome. Okay, a little bit about me. I was actually just doing my team's team meeting next door, but I run the Wild team. Have you guys heard of the Wild team? Okay, so you've heard of Red Sign. So they're big competitors here. Okay, so we'll do about 200 units closed. I run that team with my partner Brett. We have 10 full-time agents and 4 leadership that I lead and manage. Cool. Okay. So that's a little bit about me. I've been in the business for 8 years, did it right out of high school, been doing it ever since, and I'm excited to teach you about sellers. How many of you, or I guess, have you guys sold any listings yet?
Not the listing.
Have you gone on a listing appointment?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
What went well? What didn't go well? Awesome. How'd you get that listing? Okay, did you go through a set listing presentation? Where'd you get your listing presentation from? Oh, you made it. Oh, man. Okay, great. Was it a hard listing to get, easy listing to get?
It's my sister and her husband, and they've seen me and my wife work under stuff.
Cool.
They had a bad experience selling. Next time, like, real estate.
Awesome. Yeah, we're gonna talk actually a lot about that. That happens more often than you think. Okay, great. Well, let's get started. I need this clicker actually. Okay, so today we're gonna go through these things. I honestly, I've never done Ignite. So a lot of things I'm gonna be telling you is just specific seller strategies that we use and that we've seen great success with. There is definitely gonna be some things in here that I really like, but I'm gonna go through more of what we've used, what we've seen, as we are a pretty listing heavy team. So hi, thanks for joining us, guys. What's your name?
Maddie.
Maddie? And you? Ivan? Okay, great to meet you guys. Welcome to be here. Okay, so Maddie and Ivan, right? Have you guys been on a listing appointment before? Okay, cool. So what do you guys consider a qualified seller other than being able, willing, and ready to do business the next 14 days? I don't agree with that, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts on what a qualified seller means.
They like started building out the house and stuff.
Okay.
Packing it. They have, some reason to move.
or sell their house, maybe job or just downside here.
Okay, what about you guys? Anybody, any other feedback? What do you guys feel like is qualified seller? Okay, qualified seller is anybody that is like literally wanting to understand their home value, in my opinion. That's a qualified seller. If I have somebody that calls me, calls our team, and or we reach out and we're trying to pitch a home valuation, if they're interested in knowing what their home value is, that is somebody I want to go and get in front of. I don't care if they're a year out, I don't care if they're 2 years out. It's practice for you guys, and it's building relationships now, okay? Who has seen this triangle before? All of you guys probably should have. It gets to a point in your business, as you guys are all gonna be probably starting off pretty buyer heavy, is the way to get the most amount of leads and to leverage your time is through listings. When you guys are actually signing listings, you're going on multiple listing appointments, you're working with sellers, everything else falls into place. It's a rule called the 2-to-1 rule. Every one listing you do equals usually 2 deals. Meaning that other seller's gonna get a buyer, or you're gonna grab a lead from that seller, from the open house, whatever, to go and close 50 deals if you close 25 listings that year. Okay, so if you just focused on a listing a month, you took 12 listings, you should statistically be able to close 24 deals that year. Okay. Okay, so virtues of seller listings. Seller listings mean more marketing opportunities. They do what marketing opportunities come from seller listings? Face names on sign listing.
It's with everybody that comes in the house.
Open house, yep. What else? What are you guys doing to promote yourselves other than put your face and name on a sign and doing an open house? Okay, great. What else?
You're on that, all that stuff,
Sure.
people can see you, you have to stay.
Okay, door knocking. Who here has door knocked before? Do you want to kill a neighborhood like Farm, a true neighborhood? One of our agents on our team, she'll close around 35 to 40 deals this year. She has a specific farm where she door knocks every month. The best way to do that is when you have listings in that neighborhood. So you could, and even if you don't, you can still use a listing in a neighborhood that you really want to farm for just listed, just sold, and how the market's doing in that neighborhood. But door knocking, in my opinion, is the best way to really take huge advantage of a listing and of marketing in an area. Okay. You have more control of your time. That's pretty self-explanatory. You guys, when you're with a buyer, you're out showing homes a lot. When you're selling a listing, you usually get a listing appointment, you meet them, and then you see them again when you close. Everything else is usually taken care of for you, other than when you do your own open house. Sellers listings maximize your per hour compensation. That goes into control of time, volume. When you have listings, people that have listings, they own the market. They really do, because they know how to actually sell. A lot of buyers agents, they don't really know how to sell. If you're a listing agent, you have to know how to sell. And then you're on the front end of pricing, you get to dictate where you want the market, and then property market seller listings brings you more business, like we talked about. Okay. 7-step seller service cycle. Okay, lead conversion, pre-listing, listing consultation, sourcing, marketing, offers, negotiation, contact, close systems. So really, lead conversion is the most important part of this whole thing. You guys right now, how many of you guys are like working seller leads over the phone? Okay. The first thing to do to even get leads through the door is going to be through open house, or excuse me, through door knocking. Then if you guys aren't having leads come through that are actually seller leads, then it's going to be through door knocking. You guys probably know Lucas and heard his successes. It's coming from door knocking. Same thing here. Hi, how are you? Okay, so this is kind of the overall cycle of it. Some of these things I'm gonna hit really hard and some we're gonna glance over, but I really want to get to the meat of this, of where it comes to getting the appointment. Okay. So when you're door knocking on a home, when you're calling seller leads or SOI even, right? Because all of you should be calling your SOI a lot right now. And your SOI is sphere of influence. What are some ways that you guys are actually getting your SOI to interact with you over the phone about real estate?
Something that I'm doing is, since I'm just doing my first go through of all my SOI. So anyone who's at all interested, I and seeing if I can send them a market report,
Nice.
just to have them, and just asking, can I get your feedback on if this is something that people who are buying homes would use?
Totally.
So I'm still looking at the buyer side for me in particular, so,
Cool.
and that's been helpful so far. I've gotten some good feedback off of that.
Love that. What else? You guys given any other value to your sellers right now to get, or your SOI at all to get some good appointments set or conversations?
So on Facebook, I just put up a little thing that said, hey, whether you're in Utah or any other state, I'm now nationally associated with Keller Williams. Got over 500 websites across the United States. It's a great way for you to connect with people. And I've had someone from California reach out. And so that's been really
Awesome. Love that. Love that. Are you guys doing anything specific to try and capture listings that are here locally in Utah with your SOI right now?
I mean, I've already called all of my contact list about maybe 2 weeks from it. But right now I'm just door knocking open house.
Cool. Are you door knocking before your open houses or just door knocking to door knock?
Yeah, the day before I knock around,
Cool.
give out flyers and stuff. And then after the open house, I sent not the whole neighborhood, but just definitely nearby houses to know about, any offers.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so really the main point into converting people that are coming through your area, coming through your doors to wanting to sit down with you and have a listing appointment is what value you're actually giving them. So your post, right? Hey, I can hook you up with any agent in the US. That's awesome. What are some other ways that you guys can do to actually contribute to your SOI so they don't feel like you're just taking? Because I could call everybody in my database and say, hey, you ready to buy and sell yet? Because that's what every other agent does. So what are you guys doing to actually provide value first? Especially with seller leads, because those are the most important leads.
So I had a little bit of experience in this because I came from a different company, just not having training support there. I've lost maybe 2 or 3 times where I had close people that went something up and just like crap. And one of the big things that stood out to me when I'm going to go back to some of those people that are about to put their stuff on market, they didn't use me. Because I'm going to say, hey, I am practicing kind of like what you're saying. Here's this market report, and instead I'm going to take what Lee's been showing us as far as creating another report. Like a packet that basically says what we do as a seller.
Yeah.
And just say, hey, it's okay if I give this presentation, and you can tell me how it is.
Totally.
And that way they can go, oh crap. So that's what people bring to the table. Maybe we should have gone with you where, oh, now I see what you really have.
A pre-listing pocket. Yeah.
Also, something not personal, I'm just on my real estate license for the last week, so I have enough million.
Congrats. That's awesome.
But, my family real estate agent, she's a close family friend, what she does is they she has like barbecues, or she'll be like, hey, come down to the office, I'm gonna have a little breakfast, and she'll get like muffins and coffee, and then she'll have like a little get together, like, you can meet other people in your area who maybe saw your listing, maybe find a house that you like, and she'll host like little get-togethers and things like that, just to have like a event.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, so right now, that's a huge way to add value is just doing stuff that's not necessarily real estate related that sparks up real estate conversations. Okay, so converting a seller inquiry to an appointment. This is really going to come down to their motivation. You're going to be wanting to ask very open-ended questions. If you are catching yourself asking yes or no questions, that is the quickest way to not get ahead in any sales conversation. You're gonna be asking, tell me more. These are the easiest liners. Tell me more about your goals with your current home. Tell me more about your goals for your next home. Just out of curiosity, why are you interested in your home value? Would you be open-minded to me coming by for 30 minutes to looking through your property and looking at what your value looks like, right? Some of these things that are very open-ended and they're very non-rejectable answer or question openers, those are gonna be the best ways to get you guys in front of the door. But really, sure.
I was gonna say, would you like to see them offer them the same?
Yeah, absolutely. Offer them CMA. Totally good. You really want to ask them a lot of questions first before you go in and be like, oh, I'm just going to show up and give you a CMA. You really want to understand their motivation before you show up to the listing and you're like, okay, here's the CMA, and then you leave. You're not actually having a sales process. You're just showing them value. You want to, of their home, not the value of you as a listing agent. Okay, so what sellers most want from their agent, they want them to, what's 27%? It is other. Help price home competitively, help sellers market home to potential buyers, help sell home within specific timeline, help sellers find ways to fix up home to sell it for more, okay? Most people, it's that first one, help price home competitively, and that's the most important thing to sellers want from an agent. Okay, build confidence and trust. A lot of this, guys, is you guys are, some of you are newer to the industry. It's gonna be difficult for some of you to go against, like, what's your name? Sorry, sir, back here. Brian. It might be hard, like Brian said, he lost a few listings, right, to other agents. It might be hard for some newer agents to truly feel like they can go and compete against the Red Sign, against the Wild Team, against the Peter Markle Group, whatever, because there's a very big difference there in their experience versus yours. So what are you doing truly? Like, are you guys, this is a very direct question. Are you guys clear on what your value proposition is to your clients? Building it? That's good, because more than ever right now, the amount of homes on the market, the amount of agents that are doing it is the most it's ever been. Less and less agents are taking sides, and the top 20% of agents are doing 80% of the volume. So how are you guys presenting your value in a way that sellers are like, yeah, it'd be worth paying 6% to you, right? What are you guys doing that's different than everybody else? You really got to get very, very clear on that. That's one of the best ways to build trust and build confidence is through asking the right questions. We're going to talk about that a lot here in a second, but learning to ask the right questions so the seller, so the client tells you the answers to the test. Most real estate teams, most real estate companies aren't so focused on sales training. They're focused on processes. The market is moving more and more towards, you have to be a closer. You have to know how to sell. You have to, because everybody, buyers agents and sellers agents are getting competed against and getting multiple interviews with. Okay. Close to appointment tactics. These are some, you guys have heard of these probably, but show the benefits, take back close, negative, positive close, give them what they're looking for, trial close, assumptive close, tie downs. These are all some ways to close, but I'm going to show you guys, I should have printed some listing agreements, but I'm going to show you guys the best way to really close on a listing agreement. And it's the assumptive. It's by far, that is the best and the close that's going to give you guys the most for a buyer agreement, for a listing agreement, for anything. Okay, questions. Yeah. Sometimes we get hard questions. Sometimes we get really hard questions that we don't want to answer. And if it's a determined seller or a stubborn seller, they're going to bring it up again and again. So when you guys get a question, answer it immediately. And then when an objection comes up, handle it. Who knows how to handle an objection? Like if you could give me a step-to-step process of how to handle an objection.
Well, for our job, I have that is 90% of what I deal with. And so what they tell us to do is say, like, I understand you. So it's to
Love it.
acknowledge them.
Empathy.
They call it the ARM method. Acknowledge, redirect, take that and put it somewhere else. Like, that's okay, but we'll figure this out for you. Let me sit down and go in to explain it. And then add it to move on. So,
Okay, let's go through it. Who wants to give me a common objection they're hearing right now? This is going to be a little bit seller, but common objection you guys are hearing. Let's role play this really quick. Brian.
So I don't want to sell right now because with interest rates so high, I'm priced out of the market.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I totally get that. You know, so many other people feel that same way. And I've actually had several sellers that I've met with recently that actually told me those exact words. Tell me more about why that's important, Brian.
Well, I love the neighborhood I live in.
Okay.
And so I definitely would love to be able to get the value out of my home to do something. But I don't want to have to move to Santa Clara or Nephi just to make it work, or to have something that could have value. So
Okay, tell me again really quick, Brian, why you're moving, why you're looking to move.
I'd love to be in a bigger house.
Okay, awesome. Is there anything other than, right, I'm trying to isolate his concern. Is there anything other than you think that you giving up your interest rate is the biggest problem with you moving to the next home?
Just to really be a lot less populated, right? Like I'm used to being here in Orange with all of these nice amenities. If I move out that way, we got what, 2 gas stations and stuff like that. I'd rather be somewhere where I can really be in the heart of things, but I'm worried that if I sell this home, I'm really not going to be able to wrap it up in something that's seen.
Okay, when was the last time you talked to a lender?
I'm at,
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go into the response a little later, guys, because this is just a role play. Do you see how I was listening to him a little bit more than like redirecting him? I wanna really dig deep into what his concern is. I don't wanna just say, because I love that you acknowledge, that's really important. But you really need to know like what his true concern is. Because any like salesperson in person that's trying to sell 6%, they really wanna understand the client. So that's why I'm asking very digging deeper questions and understanding why, because then when I respond and then I reaffirm him, I know exactly where I need to go from there. Okay. But basically the way that a handling objection goes is empathize. You always empathize like I did. You clarify. It's basically clarifying with him and I was saying, hey, tell me more about that. Tell me more about your concern. And then isolate. Is there anything other than this concern that is holding you back? And then you respond. So I was going to respond to Brian. I'm not going to do it now, but I'm respond to Brian with his concern, how I would present that and reaffirm. Okay, now Brian, tell me exactly how actually moving into your next home, where the interest rates are 7% or 4% is going to be a great option for you because you guys literally have to move. And I'm going to have him tell me why it's a good idea. I'm not going to tell him. I'm asking him the question to tell me. Okay.
sorry, real quick, that was empathize, clarify, and what was the third?
Isolate, respond and reaffirm. Okay, pre-listing packet. This isn't working. Okay, who here has a pre-listing packet they've used? I know, Brian, you said you had one. Anybody else?
In the middle of working on one.
Awesome. What do you have in there?
Well, lots of my marketing ideas.
Okay.
That's my songbird, right?
Yeah.
One thing I'm excited to put in there is highlighting who else is working with me. So I'm gonna put a picture of Jeanette Dolly, because she can do a reflection.
Yeah, that's great.
A little bit about how to price it.
Cool. Anything else?
A little bio about me.
Nice. When are you sending this pre-listing packet off?
I'm just making it right now. I don't have anybody to send it.
If let's say you had somebody come up, when would you want to send it?
Maybe with the email when you get confirmed the appointment. Maybe
Great.
that time.
Love it. Love it. Okay, guys, the purpose of a pre-listing packet, and honestly, like our team has just started doing this last year and it's been an absolute game changer for us. The pre-listing packet is for 3 reasons, and it's going to go through them right here. The pre-sale, save time, state your value. Okay. So you're trying to show that you're a professional. You're trying to show that you know exactly, like the ins and outs of the selling process. And also that you have your marketing down, but you also know how to get their confidence early on in the stage. You're really trying to answer their questions and objections before your presentation and to shorten your time. On average, our team listing presentations are anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours. They're really long. But typically if you send the right pre-listing package before, you should be done within an hour and a half to 2 hours. Some people like to crank them in 45 minutes. That's fine. That's just not how we do it due to our sales process. Save time, makes the consultation experience smoother and shorter by tackling common obstacles and states your value. Tell the seller what you bring. Okay. So I'm going to tell you what our pre-listing packet is. It is a front cover sheet of our team. It's about our team. It's about us. It's our stats for 2023. It's our, we have 2 different charities that we support with every closing transaction. It has a bio about those charities. It tells exactly what to expect when to come to a listing appointment. Okay. So it's basically pre-framing. When I get to your home, these are the 10 things that we are going to do, and this is what to expect. Okay. After that, it is reviews, testimonials, and then FAQs. 3 pages of FAQs. How much do you charge? What does your $350 transaction fee mean? How can I buy a home without selling my home first? How does that process look? How does your guys' organizational process or what's your transaction coordinator work? You're going through as many FAQs as you can. So our pre-listing packets are on 12 pages. And we basically have it emailed as soon as an appointment confirms. Okay, as soon as you have a listing appointment confirmed, you're sending this out with a confirmation email, a calendar invite, and a text message reminding both the buyer, or excuse me, both sellers, that husband and wife, it's just one, who cares, but they both need to review this before you get to table, okay? Any questions on pre-listing packet? Okay. Awesome.
Can you bring that copy as well?
So you should bring your own listing presentation if you have one.
Electronically send it, and you go and meet, you bring the same.
So our pre-listing packet is different than our listing presentation. So our pre-listing packet is a little synopsis of what to expect at the listing appointment, as well as some closing, like about how many homes we sold last year, how many families we fed last year, how many families we served last year, like through our charities, about the agent, about our team, and then also about the actual process from what to expect at the listing appointment. Okay. And when you show up to listing appointment, we have a completely, it's the same brand, it's the same flow, but it's different documents. Okay. Okay. I'm guessing Command probably has some blanketed pre-listing package you guys can use. I'm not super familiar with Command, to be honest, but I'm guessing it could. Okay. Okay, out of these 6 steps, what is the most important part of these 6 steps when preparing for a seller consultation? What'd you guys say? Yes, great answer. That is the correct answer. How many of you guys have been to a buyer's meeting or listing appointment where the husband is not there or the wife's not there and they are on title? I can basically guarantee you, if you go to a listing appointment without one of the decision makers, you have lost that listing. You have to get both decision makers at every single appointment you go to when you're signing an agreement, without question. And then 2, aside from that, on your pre-listing call, when you're confirming appointment date, time, and location, and ensure all decision makers attend, I always call, because sometimes title has a random name on there that I don't know. You guys need to be looking at title, obviously, before you're doing these listing appointments to see who's on title. But it might be some weird last name. It might be a brother, it might be a dad, it might be a mom. You have to make sure that those people are just as on board and they're there too. You've got to. Okay. Okay. Confirming appointment date, time, and location. I would say that this is probably pretty important too. So how many times, or let me just tell you, you should be communicating with your sellers before the actual listing appointment, probably 3 to 4 times. An initial email with your pre-listing packet, a calendar invite, a group text with you and your assistant, or you and Jeanette, or just you and the sellers confirming, a call before determining that the actual square footage and bed and bathroom count of the home is correct, and then a call 60 minutes before the appointment confirming you're there. Think of how much smoother and how much more confidence they're going to have in you if you're already having 5 touches before you show up to the door. Like, that is vital. That's for a buyer appointment. That is for anything. Like, creating the communication up front so they know what to expect after, you're going to blow them out of the water if you're actually doing the right touches. Okay. Practicing your listing presentation, that's a big one. Reviewing the lead sheet. Arrive to listing presentation in a professional manner. If you are going to go and sell, I don't care, 300 and $1 million, a $2 million house, the way you look says a lot about you. The way your car looks says a lot about you. I don't care if it's Camry, I don't care if it's Corolla, but if it looks dirty, it's not a good look. You need to show up looking your best foot forward at any listing presentation you're giving. Your presentation really matters. Okay.
What is number 5?
That's just about the sellers, their motivations. That's about what exactly, when you were on the phone with, why are they selling? Who are the important decision makers and what their timeline is to sell. Okay. Any questions on that? Preparing for listing, the communication process. Okay. Okay, listing appointment. It's my favorite part. It's the most important part. Creating a great impression, share your price recommendations, set expectations for how you'll market the home and work with sellers. Okay. How do you create a great impression?
feel confident, someone speaks to them, like, you're not scared.
And then, like,
Absolutely.
front.
Yep, great. Okay, what other things?
I think a big part of it is having practice before, so you actually know what, like if you have slides, you know what are in your slides, or just a
Totally.
paper document, you know what's coming next, you're not shocked by your own information.
Absolutely,
Off guard.
absolutely. A lot of, to me, what a great impression is your communication before, like we talked about. That is by far the best. The way you're communicating with both the husband and the wife needs to be, in my opinion, very similar. The way you shake their hand, that is a big freaking thing, and we gotta get better at that, just as we're communicating with others. And the way you just exude yourself, like, are you standing up straight? Are you actually confident moving in there? Are you guiding your sellers? They're welcoming you in it, welcoming you in. Are you setting a firm agenda up front? Setting the agenda for sellers, if you don't do it in your pre-listing packet, when they walk into your home, or I walk into a seller's home, okay, remind me your name, I'm so sorry.
Daniel,
Daniel, hey, thanks so much for having me. Hey, do you mind if we just, take a look around for a second and you show me the home?
absolutely.
Awesome, you're gonna walk me through, and then we're gonna go to your kitchen and say, okay, Daniel, thank you again for letting me see your house. Do you mind if we take a seat here at the table and we can go through the process? I'm gonna ask you a lot of questions, you and your wife, I'm gonna ask you a ton of questions. It might feel like a little bit of an interview, and then I'm gonna go and talk about more about what we do. Is that okay with you?
That's
I'm
great.
getting buy-in initially, so I just go in, I straight up go and ask them 50 billion questions like I'm going to. They might get perturbed because they don't know where I'm going with any of this. You gotta set expectations up front, okay? When I'm walking through that house, Daniel, I'm gonna say, okay. I'm not gonna be like, oh, look at that beautiful lake on the wall. Wow, my family used to go to that lake too. Oh, I love that lake. Tell me about that. You know, how many of us salespeople get so caught up in like trying to develop some personal relationship right off the bat? They don't care about that. They care about how you're going to sell the home, okay? So instead, just take notice of, hey, tell me more about what remodels you did. Tell me more. You told me just now that you replaced all this carpet. Why'd you do that? Right? You're really loving showing me this backyard. What do you love about your backyard? What do you love about your home? What do you not love about your home? That's what you're asking through the walkthrough, okay? You're asking great questions, not yes or no. You're not trying to develop a beautiful personal relationship right off the fly. You're trying to understand them. Okay, then after this, I don't love how this goes. Getting a signed listing agreement is a little bit trickier or more detailed than this. So like I told Daniel, after I walk through the home, okay, awesome. Thank you so much for showing me your home. Now I'm going to sit down at the table with the husband and wife, and I'm going to go through a crap ton of questions. I'm going to truly understand who these people are. Why'd you buy this home? I'm going to get 3 reasons. I'm going to get 3 reasons why they actually bought this home. I'm going to understand why they're moving. Tell me why you're moving. Help me understand why you're moving. I'm going to ask them, who have you talked to that has recently sold a home? Okay. Who have you talked to that has recently sold a home? Why is that question important, you guys? Understanding their expectation. And when they tell me, oh, my friend just sold a home, what am I going to do? Am I going to say, okay, great, next question? No, I'm going to say, oh, your friend just sold a home. Tell me about that. What they tell you about that experience? What they like about that experience? What didn't they like about that experience? I'm going to go 3 layers deep on every single one of my follow-up questions without fail. Okay. Now, a lot of your sellers, they've probably sold a home before too. Tell me the last time you guys sold a home. What'd you like about that? Who'd you work with? Why isn't the agent you worked with here now working with you now? Or why wasn't the agent that you worked with in the past here now? Right? When they say, oh, our agent, they were okay, but I think we could have got more for the house. Oh, why do you feel that way? What processes do they do to get you the most amount of money for your home? Okay. Oh, well, I don't actually know. Okay. Good to know. I am taking notes this entire time. I'm saying, okay, I know when I present, I got a nail on our process to get them the most amount of money because they didn't know with their last agent. So I got to present on that. Okay. Next. What didn't you like, or what did you actually like about your agent? Oh, I loved how she had an assistant that was just such a great communicator. Awesome. I love that. I love great communication. What about great communication is important to you? You never bag on another agent. Never bag on anybody. You're always like, oh, awesome. If it was freaking Clay Winder And his TC Trevor, I love Clay. Clay is awesome. Yeah. Tell me more about what you loved about working with Clay and Trevor. Okay. And then, you know, too, when they tell you, oh, I love communication, great communication is so important to me because of, you know, my sales job. I feel like I'm such a great communicator. When somebody doesn't communicate to me the same way, then I just feel like they've done a crappy job. Okay. Awesome. I'm taking notes. What does bad communication look like to you? Okay. I'm literally taking notes of all of this so that when I go in to present later on, I know exactly everything I need to hit. Okay. But you see, I'm not presenting on anything yet. I'm truly asking them great questions, multiple layers deep for typically an hour to an hour and a half, guys. Like this is how you become great closers and salespeople is you're getting all the answers from them up front. You'll ask great questions like, what have you heard about the market right now? What have you heard about selling your home in this market? Have them tell you. Hey, I saw your neighbor has an open house sign or a sign on their yard. Tell me what they've told you about selling their home. How's it been for them? Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to ask them all these questions. I'm going to get as clear as I know about their bias, their expectations, their standards, what they love, what they hate, everything. And then I'm going to ask, tell me what you know about financing. Tell me what you know about what your plan is after you sell this home. Why is it important to you to go and buy this new home for you? We get so caught up in this where have you guys heard that everything I'm asking is an open-ended question? Nothing is a closed-ended question with what I'm asking. Everything is them telling me exactly what I want to hear, so I know what to present on. But what's most important is I'm not answering the question for them. I'm not saying, hey, Daniel, you want to sell your house because you want to go and get no more bedrooms and a bigger yard. That might be completely different than what Daniel's selling his house. Our interpretation of what somebody is doing could be completely different than what they're actually wanting to do. Okay, so don't assume anything. Go into every appointment assuming literally nothing. You're going in with a blank slate. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go into present and I'm going to go present on every single one of those questions answered that they gave me. I'm going to say, okay, you mentioned earlier that it's really important you have great communication. I'm going to go through my binder, my listing binder. I'm going to show them exactly where in my binder it talks about my great communication and how it works with my assistant. Okay. They said, oh, I think I could have got more from my house. Okay, great. I'm going to go in my binder again. And I'm going to show them exactly what we do in order to get them more for their house. A lot of this is you guys have to have clear presentation, especially if you're not working with somebody in your sphere of influence. Selling is a lot more difficult because they don't know you. So you have to build that. If they know you, that's still awesome. But we go even further with people we know, because how many of us know people that got screwed over because they worked with an uncle to sell their house? So we basically pre-frame before and we say, hey, Preston, my brother, dude, I love you. I love you and Sarah. And I'm going to go through this more in depth than I would somebody else because I want to make sure our relationship is even better after this. And you're going to send your raving fans to all of me because how well I did for you and went even more in depth than anybody else.
You know, questions. Their place.
So that's, you know, my partner Brett, so we run the Wild team. We do sales training twice a week, and this is all we hit on, is asking the right questions. So we just built this over the years. He's built this over the years, and then I train on it over the years, last 8 years. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, or just you could tell us maybe the top question. I know you went over that.
Totally. Top questions really are, what do you know about the selling process? Who do you know that has recently sold? What have they told you about it? And when was the last time you sold a home and how was your experience? But it's not just those questions, because then I'm going to be asking freaking 50 other follow-ups after those questions. Like, so many of us just go like one layer deep and are like, okay, next thing, because I want to get out of here in an hour. And there's so much more hidden under those. So, okay, then I'm going to go present. I'm going to show them my whole packet. I'm going to go and literally retie in everything they said. I'm going to say, hey, you mentioned earlier, you said this as I'm pointing to my notes. I want them seeing me taking notes. I want them seeing all this happening. The psychology of it is they truly are discussing their life with you. Okay, and then you're gonna go through and present, and you're gonna say, okay, you mentioned earlier this, you said this, you talked about how important it was for you for this, and I'm gonna go on, I'm gonna present on everything they said. I don't care if my presentation has literally 60 other things that are important, that aren't important to them. I'm not gonna hit on those. I'm only gonna hit on what's actually important to them. Okay, so we do a lot with remodels, like we do a lot with working with general contractors, and some people might be like, we have a big piece in ours where we talk about our HGTV experience. Most sellers, or some sellers, they don't care about that. So why would I hit on it? It's a waste of time. It makes you look kind of like we're even listening to me. So be important. Be very, just be very specific in what you're hitting on that relates back to them. Okay, after I did my rapport building, I, did my presentation. Then I'm gonna go into pricing. Okay, who here's done a CMA? Who's presented a CMA? Awesome. What went well when you guys presented on it? Sarah, let's start with you.
This was a dear friend of mine that made it easier for me. She's going through a divorce, really just wanted to know the value of her home, and I went and presented, what went really well, I think, for me, that was my first CMA.
Okay,
The whole thing went well.
good.
And it was easy with a good friend. She was, what went really well was that the value of her home was more than she expected.
Good.
It was more than I expected, but I did this with Hunter.
Great.
And we did it together, so I know I did it right.
Awesome.
And I think it was just, I went through each page with her. I didn't do like I just did like a 22-page report.
Okay.
Just worded on what I felt, what her felt most important. So for me, it was just her knowing.
Cool.
She's been in that home for 20-some years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yes, but all, and then they've added a lot of life.
What do you feel like you could have improved on next time?